So Transformers Skybound Book 1 recently released, and well, what is it like? Book 1 contains the first 12 issues of the comics, so volumes 1 and 2. Volume 1 is issue 1 through 6, volume 2 is issue 7 through 12, so this is kind of the first major story arc that Daniel Warren Johnson has done. Interestingly about this book is that does not contain the original covers as kind of chapter markers for each issue. So the first 6 issues just all consecutively play out. There's no breaking point between any of them. But what's great about a hardcover book is that you can really lay these comics flat and see these double spread pages just beautifully. Something that's hard to do with a trade paperback volume. These pages are nice and big, they're a heavier material, and they've been printed with such an amazing attention to detail that this honestly for me is just the greatest way to own these comics. It's really cool having looked at these comic panels time and time again digitally for my videos. Finally being able to see them again, in a physical print format is just fantastic. So, as I said earlier, it doesn't have those kind of chapter breakups until you get to issue 7. And I think the reason they've done that is Daniel Warren Johnson's story really do work best as this one long consecutive story told just one issue after the other with no break. So if that's something you don't like, that's something that you need to be aware of here, that this is presented in a way that it's just the first 6 issues all in one go, and then 7 through 12 onwards. There you can see that chapter. The back of this book is really where things get even better. We've got some specific sections here where Daniel Warren Johnson is showing off some of his original concept art for the series, and there's quite a lot of text from him about his creative journey when putting together this book. I don't want to go through every single one of these bit by bit because I feel like if you really want to read these, then you should buy the book. It is well worth it. But I do want to talk about a few of them here, so let's pinpoint some certain sections where he's talking. From Daniel Warren Johnson, hello friends. What you see here is one of my many forays into figuring out how to approach the Generation 1 style designs that we all know and love. The Transformers characters, especially in the G1 style, can be very blocky, oftentimes in a way I found restrictive. The challenge was to make them look like they are living, breathing robots, while staying true to the toon look that is my personal favorite. After tons of sketching and experimentation, I found the looser I drew the characters, the better they would look. Sometimes I get a little too precious with my lines, especially with established characters, and this definitely happened when first trying to draw Optimus and the gang. I personally think that readers can tell when an artist isn't enjoying the process of creating a comic book. This ultimately should be a fun process. That meant putting my ruler away, pulling out my very sloppy brush, and just going for it. I haven't looked back since. This was the 4th cover that I'd drawn for Skybound, and it was for the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive ash can of Transformers number 1. This was the evolution of the sketch from a few pages back, with Optimus Prime in the woods looking at Spike over the trees. Notice the blue tape next to Spike's head. When I started the piece, I'd not yet nailed down his final design. By the time I finished the cover, Spike's final design had been approved. And instead of whiting out the original face, which I liked so much, I decided to draw a brand new face on another piece of paper and taped it over the top of the original. Notice the paper beneath the cover? That's the page where Starscream is splattering a human in midair. And I love the contrast of the two pieces together. Lastly, I'm just now noticing that Optimus Prime's right window pane is smaller than the left. Whoops. Ultimately, this is another of my favorite Transformers drawings I've made for Skybound. It feels like a very natural and clear image that sets the tone for the entire first arc. Now there are so many more entries from Daniel Warren Johnson in this book, and they are all extremely well worth the read. Again, I'd love to go through all of them, but I really think that you should buy this book yourself and own a copy of this amazing comic and the amazing artwork and behind the scenes that have been placed in the back of this book. Really, just Having this in hand finally is such a treat, and if you're really pulled into the Energon universe, there is a Void Rivals Book 1 and G.I. Joe Book 1 and 2 that will be available this year. There is also a variant cover of this book. It is a purple-bound book with Starscream on the cover of it. If you have not physically collected these comics yet, I cannot recommend enough this as the best way to collect them. It really is a premium product.